Hello, I'm Bill Kalouche. I think I've met most of you over the last few years. And last year, at the invitation of Lee, I came to Las Vegas and I did a little presentation about a new company I'd started, Expert Playing Card, and about the cards I'd produced at Conjuring Arts over the previous few years. And it was a rushed trip. I'd kind of double booked that whole month and didn't realize I was supposed to come, so I came at the last minute, and I'm very glad that I did, because it's always a great convention, but also because something started at that convention. It's very exciting. So I met Jackson Robinson, who is one of the great young designers now that's out and creating new designs and very popular with lots of demographics, selling through the internet, etc. And with Tom and Judy and Jackson, we started a dialogue about an idea that they would revive a deck for the club that would be revealed. We would build it in secret. We'd try to break the rules and create new things for the deck that are hard to do, but still it will be a normal deck of cards. And we spent the last year figuring out how to do that. And Jackson is going to tell you all about what he went through to design the club deck for 2014. I can tell you from having committed to producing them and producing them on time that they were it was very scary, and then a few weeks ago I actually had to fly to the factory in Taiwan and make sure everything was done right and get them back here in time, because it almost missed. And very exciting, but we did everything right, and we're really excited about telling you about this new deck and this new idea for the club, where we'll kind of build a secret deck. Hopefully this will be something we'll do ongoing, but a deck for the year that will be hopefully invigorate the entire collecting world that's outside this room as well, the guys out there interested in new things. So I'd like to introduce Jackson Robinson, the designer of this new deck.
So my story kind of begins with the club last year when I came unexpectedly, not knowing what the heck I was getting into, what kind of crazy people I were going to meet, and individually did meet. But one of the things before, I had just kind of got into playing cards because I got into it because I was an artist and I wanted to design them. But when I came, but I didn't know about, I knew that there were old cards, or vintage cards or whatever, but I didn't know about them. And when I came to the convention last year, it completely opened my eyes to a whole new world that I was missing, and that 99% of the modern world, modern collecting world, absolutely knows nothing about and is totally missing. And from that day until this day, it's not good for my wallet, but I haven't bought a modern deck since then. Not because I don't like them. Well, I bought lenses, just in there. But mainly just because of the quality and the craftsmanship of what has been done in the past. And if you've seen some of my work in the other room, a lot of my inspiration comes from vintage engraving, vintage style artwork. And my own personal favorite artwork is intaglio printing from the late 1890s, like on stock certificates and currency. And when one of the first vintage decks that I actually got was from Tom and Judy, and it was an American banknote company deck. And just my love of the currency and the intaglio printing, it naturally gravitated myself to the Grilloche pattern rosette stuff that the aristocrats and the American banknote company are known for. So, and I say that because this American banknote deck was kind of the inspiration for this deck. And one of the things that I wanted to do, I had designed all these kind of very artistic, illustrative cards, but I wanted to kind of tell my story as a card designer, creating just a regular, standard, timeless, classic style of court card. And I felt like it was a good place to start with the deck that meant the most to me. And so the first slides I want to show you are the court cards from the deck. This is the spades, and it's muted colors with metallic silver ink. And I'm just going to go through these first, and then I'm going to really show you how the American banknote deck inspired me. So here are the hearts, the diamonds, clubs, and then you have the 52 plus Joker logo as the Joker, and then the Ace of Spades. And one of the things, a big part of this deck for me was me as a young designer and also a collector, how important the club was to me and how much it changed the course of my being a full-time playing card designer, how it changed my kind of outlook on things. And I really wanted, and you'll see when you see the tuck case and everything, how the 52 is throughout the whole entire design of the deck. And I really wanted to do that to just to pay homage to the importance that it was to me, the club was to me. So this is the American banknote deck that I started with. I love the Joker. I love that. The big drunk red nose. So, and this is the king. These are just some examples of the court cards from this. It's a German size deck of cards, so it's a little thinner than what we were going to print. But here's an example of how I would start with the inspiration of the American banknote deck, and I would derive my own kind of inspiration, taking, it was a 100 years old deck, and the printing wasn't, is crazy, and what do these vague lines mean? And to me as an artist, that's what intrigues me, is like, what do all these things represent? What do they derive? And so, to kind of show you examples, here's the original American banknote, and kind of how I interpreted those designs while keeping them classic, but still kind of revitalizing them in a modern way. So some more details of some of the court cards. My 2-year-old loves owls, and she kept calling this the owl card because she saw like a little owl on it. Owl daddy, owl daddy. Some more of the medallions. And it's interesting that the original American banknote deck was very detailed and has lots of line work, and it was interesting to find out how to subtract certain areas and add detail in other areas to make it interesting. And like this is a good example of like, I don't know what this is, but in a graphic sense, it's very graphic in the shapes and in the forms that it makes, and so I just tried to, extrapolate what I thought it could be if it was a new design, but still maintain just kind of the graphic nature of it. And then you can see I even kept certain areas, like the blue ribbon here, pretty much exactly the same, because I wanted to have some of those historical elements from it. There's the owl card again. And like just using repeated elements like these seemingly meaningless horizontal lines and bringing them over in a new way to the new deck. Then the shield. I already showed you that one, sorry. And some of the chess pieces of the kings. The Queen of Spades was one of my favorites in the American banknote deck. Some of the staffs. And this is how I took, and one of the things that really drew me to this deck mainly was the faces. I really was inspired by the faces, and they really drew me to the deck originally. And I wanted to keep the faces because it was what brought me to the deck in the beginning. But at the same time, I wanted to kind of give them a fresh look, you know, and doing things just like adding a highlight to the eye can do that and give it kind of a more attractive. I mean, because let's be honest, some of the court card ladies they're pretty rough. And then one thing that I really like, I love weapons and all kinds of weapons, and one of the things that I wanted to do to kind of inject my own kind of style into it is I just didn't want to use the same swords that have always been used. And so what I did for the 3 kings, and I wished all the kings had swords so I could have made it kind of continuous, but I gave each king a different kind of historic style sword. So he's kind of, this king of hearts has a Roman gladius, and then he has kind of a broadsword, and then he has kind of a rapier. I mean, obviously the blade's a little big for being a rapier, but I enjoy kind of the basket hilt that some of the rapiers have, and I think they make really intriguing design. So now it gets to some of the fun part. One of the things that I absolutely love about a lot of the old decks are these slipcase boxes, and it was one thing that I really loved, and it's amazing how through time, obviously technology and printing processes get better, but at the same time, other processes get lost or things are done differently. And we really, and I was like, Bill, can we do I don't want to do a tuck case, let's do something like this. And so we started working on it, and that was the great thing with working with Bill, is I had these ideas, and before I would have to do all the production, like research and all the legwork by myself. When I was able to let Bill kind of do a lot of that legwork because of his playing card company. And so with that, we created this deck. So this is the club deck, the tuck case, and it has a slip case just like the original American Banknote Company that I love so much. And we wanted to do different things with the seals, and at first it seemed like a very simple deck. And from my previous work, which is very highly detailed, lots of line work, this was very refreshing to me as an artist because I was able to create something that was, you know, hopefully I think is beautiful, but at the same time much different than my previous work. And I have to do that as an artist to just kind of keep myself fresh. But I always like to go overboard with everything. And so I was like, how can I make this overboard? And I think that when you open the deck, you'll see that the entire inside of the slip case are all 52s in metallic foil. So when you open it, the whole thing is metallic foils on the inside. And that's something that I really enjoyed about it, was like, oh, here's a nice little white tuck case. And then it's so much more than that. So you have a classic style design, but you still have modern elements like this. And then I really wanted to do something sweet with the seal, you know, because nobody just wants to put a numbered seal on the top, like everybody does. And so I was like, Bill, let's do this real long seal that goes all the way to the bottom. He was like, okay. And originally, when I originally designed it, I had all the line work like around the seal, and he's like, all right, relax, relax, relax. Yeah. Now, before I show you some of the next pictures, some of the things I was talking about, like a lot of things were lost or technology changed. We all know about like gold metallic inks and metallic foils on playing cards, and that's something that's kind of lost, or the processes have changed, and you can't really do it in a manner that's really production friendly. And so that's something we really worked on with this deck. And it's something that's not happening, but just within the past year. Just within the past year, it's getting to a point with the custom playing card industry where people are having to do more things and do more incredible designs and using more bells and whistles that all of you guys are very accustomed to, of like metallic inks and foils on cards. But it's something that's been done for hundreds of years. And just even this year, you know, I can probably name 10 decks that are just now coming out with this process. And Bill has come out with one deck before this, the Exquisite Bowls, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, ugh, I want to do that too. So this is the back of the card. And one of the things that I wanted to do with the back design of the card was I wanted to create two different depths of the card design. Oh, let me show it out. And so what happens is I have metallic silver ink and I have silver foil. And when you look at it one way, the values of the gray and the values of the foil create one thing as the foreground and the background. But then as you turn it, let me get to that card. It's all 52s. Everything you see is 52s.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a little, I'm going to skip to the card. I'm going to skip my presentation here. There's the ace. Sorry. I'm going to scatter here now. There's the joker. So here's kind of what I'm talking about, the different depths. In one angle, the specularity of the silver ink and the foil create one type of image. And you'll see this when you look on the inside too. In certain angles, you completely lose all the 52s and it just becomes a line work and just like a background. But then when you change it, it creates a whole different style of depth because the values of both the silver ink and the metallic ink change. Now, this deck,
Tell them, sorry to interrupt, but tell them that deck is limited strictly to 500.
yeah. This deck here that we made for the club, and I'm going to go back to this as well. The other reason why I wanted to do this deck is when we started having the conversations last year about doing this, we wanted to do something because newer collectors and newer designers, people like myself and Paul and Alex and everybody, we were starting to come to the convention. And one of the main things in the conversation was how can we get more people to be a part of the deck? Because there's so many people that could learn and benefit from the information that's in this room. And that was one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to do this, to help contribute in my own way to help bring people here and to bring people. So we were like, let's create something that you can only get at the convention, and we'll keep it a secret, and the only way that you can get it is being at the convention. And so that was kind of the thing. The deck here was what we wanted to do. We only produced 500 of these, and they're all individually numbered on the seal. And you can only get these right now, today, you can only get these at the convention, and after the convention, and Tom's going to talk more about the details of that. But after the convention, the only way that you can do it is by being a club member and by getting it through the club website. And so, I mean, for us it was a marketing tool, but at the same time it was my tangible way that I could help the club. Was that good?
That's great.
We worked so hard on this deck. And Bill wanted to create a version for the Conjuring Arts Research Center. Do you want to talk about this one?
Sure. So to drive interest, of course, 500 is a great number, and it'll make it instantly. It'll be, people will join the club and buy this, and they'll be sold out. But we wanted a broader edition that we could put out
so that we could build more awareness for the club. And so Jackson took basically the same designs and just altered them. The slipcase was too expensive for a mass edition. It was really expensive to make. This was literally made by hand, every one of these boxes. And what we did was, we took something that started in the Dawson's Kitchen years ago, on my first visit to them. Tom and Judy showed me a deck from a company called Union Playing Card Company that you probably all know. They had a brand called Exquisite, very rare. They had a sideways tuck made out of a fabric material, which I saw and I said, well, I can use that. That's really interesting. So we've been producing that for a few years, but what we did is we took this design and we made the colors into gold foil and gold ink, and we made this tuck sideways, which Jackson decided to print inside and out, which I think you can see in the picture as well.
All 52s.
And all 52s. And we did something else that's new. This really is new. This you can't even go back to. I don't think this has ever been done, but this is a synthetic paper. This is not, you'll feel it. We'll put one out. We don't have a lot of these. These are still shipping, but it's really interesting because it's waterproof, it's tear-proof, although you could deform it if you tried to tear it. But it really has an interesting feel. So it's a new innovation to just make a more durable tuck. And the wonderful result of using this material was it takes the foil extremely well. All papers will take foil differently. I'm learning this the hard way. They're not all equal. But this particular material takes the foil extremely well. So there will also be an edition of these that won't be quite so limited. And I think that's, I don't know if you have any more slides.
Bill,
Yes.
I wonder if you could just mention the tuck cases that we have for sale, please, so that
Oh.
people know about that.
Well, not this one.
Sorry.
One of the
slipcase.
One of the products that we created last year was something called a pack jacket, and it's just a heavier box that you can put a deck. I usually, when I come to this convention, I bring some empty ones in my luggage, because if I buy a really good deck, I can put it in there and it closes around it. And it saves it if it bounces around in your luggage or scrapes. It can't get damaged as easily. And when I showed those around last year, I think Judy and some others said, that's really interesting, why don't we do one for the club? So they have some here for the club, which I think you're selling at a good price, and you can, there's some on maybe it's on your table, Tom, right? But it's just a little empty box that it's not made out of this material. I might try that in the future. It's made out of something else. I didn't have the ability to make it out of this material when I made those, but it is a lot more protection for your deck, and those should be available on your table as well. So,
And one of the things that I hope comes from this is that you guys really enjoy this deck, and also that it's something that we're going to try to start doing every year to help build awareness and help to get more people into the club.
I think so.
I can tell you when we got a sample, I haven't seen a real one yet. One of the 500, except maybe that's one. We pulled a proof out of the box. I mean, it was pretty amazing because we never had any idea what was inside the box. So that was a terrific surprise. You've heard the story of how it kind of developed. I want to just talk a bit about the deck in terms of distribution to the club members. We decided very early on, this is for the club only. We're not selling any decks outside the club. The club, in effect, has possession now of approximately 450 of them. A few have gone to people who are involved in this production and design.
Yes.
I might add an extremely modest fee for all the work they've done. And they're keeping those, they're not going to put those out on the market. We've done a lot of, where's Tom, soul searching, introspection, and whatever else about how to do this and what we should charge, etc. We've had, I guess, proposals to sell the decks for anything from $20 to at least $100 a piece. We tried to come up with something that seemed reasonable and yet was a worthy price for the deck, because I don't think you should sell really good things too cheap. So what we've ended up with is a $45 price on the deck. For people who are registered club members that are here at the convention, they can buy one for $20. That's sort of a treat for being here. And for those who want more than one, they can have two for $65. Or they can have three for $100, and that's all they can have. We're not selling any more than three per member here. We put them on sale at the through the website and the internet, through group email, blast, all that sort of stuff. That's all the members, and we'll allow any member within here to buy two. Then at the end of the year, about the end of December, we'll take stock and see where we are, how much interest there's been, how many we've got left, and we'll decide. But we want to keep them for club members only forever. So we have. We'll probably use some of them in the future for promotion. We believe that there are people who are not members who will join because they want to buy the deck. So they'll be paying $70 instead of $45. But they'll be members and getting CPD every quarter. So that's our distribution plan. We're going to start selling them during the reception, which is in the Montague room in a few minutes. We'll take a couple of minutes to get some, but I'll be there, and we may purchase them from me. So we have, as I said, actually I think we have 440 of them, and we will, we have, we've been to that here. 200? There's about 200 here. More than we need. More than you take some back. Anyway, so we'll get set up in a few minutes over there, and anybody who wants one, or two, or three, very well. I'm hoping most of you will want at least one. I think it's an outstanding achievement. It's a great deck, and it's beautiful package. And you don't understand the thought that went into it until you get a flavor, I think, from what Jackson said. But it's fantastic, and I think we owe a huge thanks. Where's the Montague room? Anybody? Oh, I know where the other. Are there any other questions?
It's about as far away as you can get.
Go back to the lobby.
And instead of going out the front door, which is not going to take you anywhere good, you go to the right toward where the breakfast room is. You don't go to the breakfast room, you hang a left, and then the Montague room will be right there. And the first thing you get into the Montague room, there will be a bar set up, and some light, very limited amount of food, a little bit of food to nibble on.
Okay, I've got a couple of other things to
Okay.
talk about too.
Okay.
Are there any questions for these gentlemen? Three?
Distribution of the Conjurer's deck, how's that gonna happen?
That's going to be on conjuringarts.org, which is
Oh, the gold one, yeah.
the gold one
Hailson's.
will be, yes.
I recover some of our expense in this if we sell.
Jackson, you still drawing by
Conjuringarts.org
hand?
later in the year.
Say again?
Are you still drawing by hand?
I draw a lot of stuff by hand.
Not everything.
No, not everything. I have to leave my kids. No. The great thing about this deck was I went about it a whole different way than I usually did with my I hand draw on my computer with my currency stuff. But this was a totally different way for me to work because I never created a deck of cards in this manner that I did with this deck. And it turned out really good because when you see the cards, the print quality is stellar with how clean the lines are, and it's really beautiful.
Phil?
Was there a date on the deck, 2014?
Yes. I think, was there?
I
I
saw
think Ace
one.
of Spades, 14 on the
top of the box.
Yeah, I think it's on the bottom, or the ace.
It is on the ace of spades, for sure. It's not on the fives.
So will there be a 2015?
I saw it on the eighth.
They're gonna decide at the end of the year.
Will there be a 2015?
Yes.
He's promised.
Okay.
We're gonna have the same experience next year. We won't know what the hell it is.
It's like secret.
It'll be another secret.
Okay, one announcement before I forget about it when everybody pours out here is, we're going over there, it's gonna be about 6-ish, 6 to 10. People will probably wanna hang around, have a drink or two. People will probably wanna have something to eat, but there's a poker game after for those who are interested. Could I get the hands again?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can in a minute, okay?
I don't know about, depending on your answer to the question.
Okay, we've got less than 20 there, we've got 20. Now your question.
Then you're playing poker or Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em is poker.
So it is.
And by the way, tarot deck is not a divination.
It's too long.
Yes, Joe?
Can I buy the deck tomorrow?
Yes.
If I don't want to wait around tonight?
Yes, you may buy it. You may buy it Saturday, but after that,
After that,
I think we brought
it'll be in the
enough.
category of getting only 2 if you want.
No, but I think we brought enough that I think everybody here, nobody's gonna get locked out.
We got, look, we don't, your 200's gonna
You
be
don't have to
covered. If
go.
everybody buys 3, we're still gonna be less than 200.
We'll have some at the desk tomorrow.
Well, I just wanted to interject here that something that hasn't been mentioned, and that's the fact that we really owe a lot to not only Jackson, but Bill Kalush, in so much as with his diligence and his willingness to work so hard. I personally, based on my experiences, don't believe that U.S. Playing Card would have never produced something like this. Not in a million years.
This is not a cheap deck, so don't think we're like buying a $3 deck and pocketing a lot of money. Aside from the fact that the deck got hit for $10,000 first-class airfare to China. Anyway.
Where is the poker?
It's in the
In the same
room.
room, you'll see the round tables.
What I suggest, 8:30 would be a decent time for starting the poker, so people have time to go and eat. So 8:30, Larry, okay with you? And my other dealer?
I can
Yeah. Oh, there it is, okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, well, let's adjourn to the room and you'll have hours to talk. By the way, this reception, we're going to sponsor the table by expert playing card company.